Still watching Prime Morning. The segment is Prime Inside. The budget was read last week and people have sentiments about it. We are hoping to have a better 2023 with regards to what was said in the budget. Yesterday we tackled agri-sector. Today we are tackling school feeding. There's a video I want you to watch. When we come back, we'll delve into our conversation with regards to what the budget says about school feeding.
The Ghana School Feeding Program is an initiative of the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, Pillar 3, which seeks to enhance food security and reduce hunger in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, NDGs, on hunger, poverty, and malnutrition. The basic concept of the program is to provide children in public primary schools with one hot, nutritious meal prepared from locally grown foodstuffs on every school-going day. The aim is to spend 80% of the feeding cost in the local economy. Since its inception, the program has seen pitfalls and remarkable achievements. Today, we are asking, is the 2023 budget going to make school feeding better? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Stay tuned.
So you have seen what the school feeding has, what it's offering. Of course, the budget did read and say what they have planned for 2023 with regards to school feeding. Let's go to Kumasi and speak to Lordship Justice Kofi Akruwa. He's a supervising High Court judge in the Ashanti region. Good morning, Justice. Your Lordship, if you can hear me, kindly unmute yourself. Kindly unmute yourself for me, please. Okay, can you speak up a bit for me? I think you're a little bit faint, so I can hardly hear you. All right, so let me go speak with Faustina Amevo. She's a former president of School Feeding Caterers Association. Good morning, Faustina. Before we speak with Faustina, let's take a look at the video again, and when we come back, we'll speak with Faustina and Your Lordship.
The Ghana School Feeding Program is an initiative of the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, Pillar 3, which seeks to enhance food security and reduce hunger in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, NDGs, on hunger, poverty, and malnutrition. The basic concept of the program is to provide children in public primary schools with one hot, nutritious meal prepared from locally grown foodstuffs on every school-going day. The aim is to spend 80% of the feeding cost in the local economy. Since its inception, the program has seen pitfalls and remarkable achievements. Today, we are asking, is the 2023 budget going to make school feeding better? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Stay tuned.
Like we said earlier, we are still talking about a school feeding program, what the future holds for it with regards to what was read in 2023 budget. We are hoping to have a better school feeding program. Now, I'll read what the finance minister did say with regards to it. And it reads, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, whilst presenting the 2023 budget statement, indicated that the government has no plans of abandoning the school feeding program policy, but rather has initiated strategies to sustain the flagship program. According to him, the initiative, which provides food for about 4 million pupils in basic schools, would be increased. Okay, just in case you didn't hear that, should I reiterate it? So over 4 million people are being fed right now, but we are hoping on increasing it. I don't know the numbers we are increasing it to, but hopefully we'll increase it by 2023. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana School Feeding Program, which provides one whole meal for 3.4 million beneficiaries pupils in public schools as of December 2021, will be sustained and increased. He said during his presentation of the 2023 budget on the floor of Parliament. He reiterated the increment would strengthen locally produced food from the national buffer stock. Now, do we have enough funds to be able to sustain this? Are we paying the caterers well? Is another question altogether, because the caterers have come out to say that they are being owed. Some of them, are saying that monies that are due them haven't been released. Some of them are also claiming that even the amount that they are paying to them is not good enough. But we are hoping on increasing. Okay. In 2023, the feeding grant would be increased to reflect the current cost of living. The program could also strengthen domestic production by sourcing locally produced food from National Buffer Stock Company. He added, he revealed that the government cancelled the payment of charges and levies in all public schools, which increased enrollment over the years. Mr. Speaker, the government abolished the charging and payment forms of fees levied in all public schools and replaced them with a capital grant in 2005, which sees to steady increases in enrollment over the years. This he stated. Now, there's been a lot of questions with regards to this. People are wondering what the future of the school feeding program looks like. There are a lot of, I don't know what your take is. Maybe I'll activate the phone lines to hear your voice with regards to it. Do you think what the budget did say about the school feeding program, there is hope for school feeding program in the year 2023? Are we going to have a better school feeding program? Are we having the caterers receiving their monies on time? Is the monies being paid to the caterers even good enough? Is that a venture that you would like? Is that a venture you'd like to get to? Or you feel that this particular thing is a no, is a non-starter conversation, and so government should abolish it? Let's hear from you at home. So we'll activate the phone lines to hear from you. As we do that, we are also trying to fix the technical hitches. Of course, it happens sometimes, and we apologize for that. We'll try to speak to the Lordship Justice Kofi Akrowa. He's a supervising High Court judge in the Ashanti region, and also we'll go all the way to the United States and speak to Madam Faustina Mevo, who is a former president of School Feeding Caterers Association. Unfortunately, we are struggling a little bit, but once we get it back on track, we'll definitely speak to them and get to know more about this whole school feeding program and if there's a good future with it. But then you at home can also join the conversation, what you think about it. You might have a ward who has experienced it. We know when it started, the food was good. Yes, we saw it. We saw some enjoying sardines, some enjoying eggs and all of that. And then all of a sudden, we heard of the decline, where the food that was being served was so poor. And to the extent that some people even called it out that this is food that you will not serve to your dogs. That's what some people said. But what is the future like? The budget has been read. They are saying that there's going to be an increment from 4 million to probably 5, 6, 7. We don't know yet. But let's see what the future holds. So let's hear from you if you think that there is future with regards to the school feeding program. I can't say much about it. I'm just hopeful that it's definitely going to get better. Caterers have cried. You at home, you're crying, especially for those of you who have your wards there. And now, if we talk about the northern part of Ghana, now this is a part of Ghana that we've also heard that once they stop school feeding, the children decide not to go to school, because some of them do struggle to even feed their children. So the children only go to school because they know that they'll get food to eat. So the parents will tell them, go to school today, I don't have anything to feed you with. Just go to school and I will give you, and you get food to eat in school. Then you come back home, belle full. Now, if this is cancelled, now we know that the children are definitely going to struggle. The government has promised that they are not going to cancel it. They are rather going to increase it. But will that affect the quality of food that is served to the children out there? Let's hear your voices. The number is on the screen, 0302-211-693 or 4. 0302-211-693 or 4. Just call us. Let's hear your voice, what you really think about it. But let's take a look at the video once again.
Is an initiative of the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, Pillar 3, which seeks to enhance food security and reduce hunger in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, MDGs, on hunger, poverty, and malnutrition. The basic concept of the program is to provide children in public primary schools with one hot, nutritious meal prepared from locally grown foodstuffs on every school-going day. The aim is to spend 80% of the feeding cost in the local economy. Since its inception, the program has seen pitfalls and remarkable achievements. Today, we are asking, is the 2023 budget going to make school feeding better? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Stay tuned.
You're still watching Prime Morning, and we are still talking about the school feeding program. Lordship is joining us on phone. So just Lordship Justice Kofi Akwuwa, he's a supervising High Court judge in the Ashanti region. Good morning, Lordship. Sorry. Hi, Lordship.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, by the grace of God, I'm fine.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
I wanted to correct my name. My name is Ayikwei-Awulley.
Ayikwei-Awulley. Okay, all right.
So,
okay. That's fine.
And I'm a board chairman of Vocational Institute at Asamanka, St. Mary's Vocational Institute. I'm the board chairman.
Okay, that's nice. Thank you so much for correcting us this morning. You have a very big post, so you are the right person to actually speak to this, because you have experienced the children having the, the school feeding program, and with regards to what was read in the budget. Let me first of all take your general overview of what the finance minister said.
Well, my general overview is that what the finance minister said is what he intends to do to enhance the school feeding program. You know, I've been on air for a while, and people have been saying a lot, and the parents and the children have experienced a lot of hiccups. What is important is that the minister or the government wants to feed the children once in a day. But the problem is first with the amount allocated for the program. And it's all because we are all experiencing budgetary constraints. So what is important is for first, if there could be an update, as the minister has intimated, if they can increase the feeding per child, and if the money will come readily, come on time, that will be all right.
How much is it per child as of now?
As of now, from what I know, it's 1 cedi per child.
Okay. From what you know?
We know we are yet to, the budget is yet to be approved. So we don't know exactly what is going to be in the budget.
Okay. Now, if we are saying from what you know, if it's 1 Ghana cedis, how much do we want it to go to per child?
It's not how much we want. Because, we are speaking on comparative sense. You look at the prisoners, how much they are fed with. Do you see it? And then even our senior secondary schools, how much they are fed. So if you want to see something reasonable, then at the moment it should not be less than 5 cedis. It should not be less than 5 cedis from my own perspective.
No, but if we say 5 cedi, if we have 1 Ghana cedi now and we are increasing it to 5 cedi, that's going to be a lot, won't it be?
Exactly so. So when we say how much will be enough, what in Ghana you can't get what is enough. But what can be a bit, if it's 1 cedi, 100% will be 2 cedis. Is that what it?
Let me ask you this, Your Lordship. The 1 Ghana cedi, is it affecting the quality of food that's being served to these children?
Madam, you know, definitely, because we are all parents. And you know how we feed our children when even the pocket money we give them when they are going to school. So if 1 cedi, and you know, the problem we have is that the headmasters or the head teachers or headmistresses do not have any input in how the people who cook the food do it. You see, it is controlled by the metropolitan and metro assemblies and then district assemblies. They control these things. So the monitoring should also be important. If we want to get an input into this, then the school management committees, the parents, PTAs, and the teachers themselves must be able to assess what type of food the contractors are putting on the table, and then how that assessment can impact in the supervision or what the various assemblies can also inform Accra.
Okay. Your Lordship, I'll put a hold on our conversation. I'll come back to you. But joining us via Zoom is Ayikwei-Awulley. He's a communications director for Coalition of Concerned Teachers Association in Ghana. Good morning, Ayikwei. Ayikwei, if you can hear me, kindly unmute yourself. All right, so I have to come back to you, Your Lordship, and have more conversations with you. And then I'll give you a breather and probably be joined on the phone by other guests as well.
That's all right.
All right, Your Lordship, we've spoken about the amount that we are hoping that it will be increased to. We also heard the finance minister say that he was hoping that the numbers will be increased from 4 million to whatever number, we don't know. But is this sustainable with regards to what they are saying in the budget? Is this sustainable?
You see, at the moment, from what the finance minister himself said, or his education minister said, the number of children who are being covered now is between 3 to 4 million. So what we need to do is to ensure that the population that we are covering now, that we can get something that can sustain them, and then ensure that the nutrients, the quality of the nutrients, or the quality of the food as such is up to standard. So that when we are satisfied that by the number of people we are feeding, they are getting a reasonable amount in terms of quantity and a reasonable quality, then we can consider extending it beyond the number that we have now. But personally, I believe that we need to ensure that what we have now is something that is sustaining the children and that we can maintain it before we extend it. And talking about sustainable, it depends on the budget. If the government is able to make available the money at reasonable time. You remember, not quite long ago, the caterers were demonstrating. Yeah, so it also affects them. So I believe that there should be a whole collaboration between the school feeding, the managers of the caterers must have input in all this, so that you have to ensure that the money comes on time. Because these days, when you contract something and then you take money from somebody or bank, the increase, the interest are a bit harsh. You see, and these are individuals who have decided that they want to help. So we need to ensure that, basically what I'm saying, we need to ensure that the monies are released on time, and that also we supervise the quality of food that the contract also provides at the school. Because a lot of times you go to the school and you see what they are providing almost like water. Even when you say beans food, you can count the beans. Yes. So the monitoring is very, very important.
Your Lordship, is it okay if then that we say that probably they should reduce the numbers instead of looking at increasing the numbers? Let's look at, the remote areas. Maybe they might need the school feeding more, so we can be able to give the caterers what's due them.
Yes, that's why I'm saying that we need to do a collaborative discussion on this matter. See, because as you are saying, indeed, in the remote areas, it is very important that is where we see that we have vulnerable parents and children there most. So it's a question of getting the proper collaboration. The district assemblies will have to decide if in the particular district which area they think are more vulnerable, and then we concentrate, as we're saying. But the government also the government intends to expand it. So if the government intends to expand it, then what we urge the government is to try to sustain the financial support. You see, we need to see which part of the economy or which part of our expenditure that we need to probably cut it down, and then see that it is a priority, that we ensure that we sustain it. It's very important because we can't sacrifice the education of our children on that.
Do you see it as a priority?
In terms of the feeding?
Yes, in terms of the feeding. Is it a priority?
Yes, because you realize that the numbers have increased. If you look at the numbers since the school feeding program was brought up, the numbers of school going have increased. So it means that it is helping. You see? And we want every child to be in school.
But then again, you ask yourself, is it a priority for everyone? Because some parents can actually afford feeding their children.
And that is the difficulty, you see, because when you go to a particular school, it might be very difficult to assess and know which of the children are the most needy in terms of giving them food. You see, and those their parents can supply the food. It's difficult to do it. It's like this a senior high school program that you have been talking about. You see, in Ghana, and like a developing country, it is difficult to actually to delineate and know that these are the people who are very needy, and then these are the people who are not needy. It is a bit difficult, but if we could do, that would have been the best. If we could do, but I see a difficulty in getting that done.
Right. Okay. So I'm going on Zoom to speak with Faustina Amevo right now. Faustina is the former president of School Feeding Caterers Association. Good morning, Faustina, and kindly unmute yourself for me.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you this morning? I don't know if it's morning where you are, though.
It's dawn at my place. It's 1 a.m.
Okay.
But I'm trying to put things together.
Okay.
Good morning to you, and good morning to our cherished listeners and viewers, and to all the hardworking Ghanaian school feeding teachers. I say Ayikwei, it has been a journey.
All right.
I don't know. I heard something about either increasing the school feeding to other schools and all that. I think at this point in time, as we are talking, there were a lot of policies put together for this program to give us the best that we wanted. But I don't know if the policies are still being practiced. policies like to secure regular payments to the service providers. I don't know how it's going now because I've been out of the system for some time now. But most of my friends who call me tell me that payments are not going on well. And in the budget, I don't know how much has been the increment in the school feeding to the school feeding caterers.
Let me ask you this, Faustina, before you continue, you said you've been out of the system for a while, and your people did complain that they are not receiving their monies. How long ago?
Yes, on time.
On time. How many years have you been out of the system?
Oh, after 2018.
Okay, so within the years of what, 2016 to 2018, you were the president, or you were part of the school feeding project. Were you receiving your monies on time?
I wouldn't say it was on time, but it's better than now, according to what my friends call me and tell me.
How much were you receiving per child?
Oh, at that time, we were receiving, I think it came to 80 pesos.
Per child?
It wasn't up to 1 cedi.
Okay. But you were receiving your monies on time, 80 pesos, and you were receiving your monies on time.
It was better. It wasn't on time as we wanted to.
Okay. But currently, how much? Currently, how much are your colleagues receiving?
In fact, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe the justice will know. I don't know.
Okay, the justice did mention 1 Ghana cedi.
Okay, so since 2017, 2018, it was only 20 pesos that was added. Is it fair? Look at the inflation in this country. So, in fact, the measures that were in place in those days, it's not about increasing the schools. It's about seeing to it that the policies and the directives are initiated so that it will sustain the policy, the school feeding program, the audit system. I don't know. Most of them even don't cook the food to the schools. They don't provide the schools with food. You see, I think the government is wasting money through some other means. People who are not doing the job are being paid.
You can't confirm that, right? You are just saying it, but you can't confirm it.
I can't confirm it.
Okay.
I cannot confirm it. But from what I hear, some schools, days go without food. But I don't know how the payment system goes. In our days, we were paid through the MTN. And we had this checking from the audit system through the secretariat. So these days, I don't know how it goes.
Right. Okay, so with what your colleagues are saying, of course, you are not in the system anymore. So speaking to this is a little bit, dicey for you. But let me ask you this. As the government is going to increase the numbers from 4 million, probably, I don't know, maybe go to 5 million or more. You have said that it might not be sustainable. Why?
Yeah. The reason why I'm saying it might not be sustainable is that the checks, I don't know how the checks are being done. First of all, we have to see to it that the children of Ghana are fed well. How much is the price of 1 egg now in Ghana? Please.
It's 2 cedi 50 pesos, actually. It's 2 cedi 50 pesos.
So if you are paying a caterer 1 cedi per child, how can she provide a quality and a healthy and good quantity of food to a child? if a price of egg is 2 cedis. Think about this. You see, at times we don't have to talk about praises and saying that they have increased payments to caterers. There are some. I don't want to go there. The caterers are really suffering.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this,
Yeah.
Fosti. If the caterers are struggling and they are running at a loss, why are they still in this business?
That's why most of them are not providing the food.
Okay. So now they've stopped. Most of them have stopped.
The quality, most of them, yeah. You know the inflation in this country. Most of the items that we use are imported into this country. So if we cannot even provide 1 egg per child, maybe even once a week, so what are we doing? Why do you want to increase the schools?
Okay.
Is this sustainable?
That's questionable, actually. Let me go speak with Ayikwei, who has joined us via Zoom as well. Ayikwei, kindly unmute yourself for me. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and good morning to all your viewers. If you can hear me.
I think they can hear you. Currently, you are loud and clear right here. Ayikwei-Awulley, he's the communications director for Coalition of Concerned Teachers Association. Now, as teachers, are you being fed as well, or you are not part of it?
Thank you very much. We are not part of it. Even those in junior high schools are not part of it. But fortunately or unfortunately, those in senior high school are being fed.
Oh, really? What's the reason that was given?
Oh, due to political expediency. For the senior high schools, we cannot talk about it now, but we know it is due to political expediency. Because you cannot allow somebody to enjoy all the benefits of being in the boarding house. And at the end of the day, another person will be a day student and will not enjoy it. So definitely that is the reason.
Okay. All right. I think with this particular issue, we might have to speak with the government. But have you tried to speak with the government about it?
Oh, yeah. When it comes to the review of the free senior high school, as they call it, all these things are issues that we have raised.
As it's being called, or as they call it?
As they call it.
How do you call it?
Definitely. It's free in quotes.
Okay. All right. So you've addressed it and nothing has been done about it?
Oh, we are that everybody is calling for the review of the free senior high school so that we'll look at all these bottlenecks. Because we definitely know the reason why these students are even being fed. And we know why a lot of the children are now day students. Well, they are day students. And it is very heartbreaking when school closes and you see them, especially when you are driving from Usu through to Tema. You see a lot of these senior high school children standing by the roadside, stopping and begging people to pick them in their trucks. Sometimes there's a 3-wheel motorcycles and they sit at the back, and it's very disheartening. But I think it is something that all stakeholders will have to look at. It is an issue on its own. So let's talk about the
school feeding. I was going to ask you, if this had to do anything with the school feeding. Probably there's a correlation somewhere that I don't know about.
Definitely there will be a correlation. If you look at the aim of the school feeding program, it is supposed to increase school enrollment and then make sure attendance and retention are enhanced. But also to look at malnutrition. And I think they have some long-term goals to reduce poverty and hunger and all that. But let us look at it critically. If you are paying 97 pesos, they are saying it is 1 cedi, but tax is deducted. So they are left with 97 pesos. And then the children are being given 1 ladle of, let's say, beans and gari. And then you tell me this is reducing hunger. And it is enhancing food nutrition. I think we are deceiving ourselves at the end of the day. You see, we have to really look at the whole policy of the school feeding program. We have to really look at it again. There is a particular group of people that we can look at and ensure that the program really do what it intends to do. You come to the metropolitan area, let's look at a place like Tema Metropolitan. Are you telling me a parent will send the child to school and then that parent will be unable to feed that child, so the child will be given one ladle of beans or one ladle of rice with some soup or gari? You don't see any fish or meat. They don't eat anything like egg. And then you are telling me you are reducing hunger. And then you are also reducing malnutrition. I think it is a deception. And we have to relook at the whole program again. Is it the whole of Tema?
We can actually, you see, the thing here is that there's a struggle for you to tell who needs it and who doesn't need it, because like you say, you're using Tema, there are some people in Tema
and some don't need it.
Okay, but how do you identify those people?
Some people need it and some don't need it. They can identify them, the community itself. When you go into the community, you study the community. We have some communities that are deprived. Teacher unions have taken it upon themselves with Ghana Education Service. We've gone around, we have looked at communities that are deprived, and if they want that document, it is with the committee. The committee is here to present it to Ghana Education Service, but that document is there, that you know that this community is really deprived. So let us channel the school feeding program to this community. Definitely, if they know they will get food to eat, they will come to school. You cannot tell me a child in Tema or a parent in Tema will not take the child to school. So at the end of the day, you need to feed the child with one ladle of rice, and that will make that parent to bring that child to school to increase enrollment. Let's go and study the situation. We realize that no enrollment have been increased in a place like Tema or Takoradi because of school feeding program. And there's nothing like increase in food nutrition or whatever. So let us target the group that we need to target. Let us increase the amount, and let us stop this deception of paying 97 pesos to be used to feed a child in school. And go and look at the kind of food that they are eating. When they realize
as we increase the amount, how much are we increasing it to?
It should go to at least 5 cities.
Right.
It will do. Okay. But at the end of the day, when they realize that the supervisors are coming, then they will add some egg and then increase the amount of food that they are going to give the children, and the supervisors will come. Look at what you are showing on TV. Look at the amount of food they've given to that small child. You look at this bank. Very heavy with egg, because they knew the supervisors were coming. But this is not the kind of food they give to the children. They give them one ladle, no egg, no fish, no meat. They will tell you it is fish powder and anything. I think we are deceiving ourselves. It is just deception. We should really look at the program, know where we will channel it, and then at the end of the day, we will feed those people very well. But we cannot say that we are feeding all Ghanaian primary school children. What about junior high school? Because now we are even feeding senior high schools, but we are not feeding junior high school.
In your opinion,
but we are unable to feed all the primary school children. We are not feeding all primary school children. We are feeding some. We are not feeding junior high school, but we are feeding all senior high schools. We are joking.
Right, Ayikwei, I was going to ask in your opinion how you think we can fix it, but I'll come back to you. Let me go speak to you, Lordship Justice Kofi Akroria. Justice?
Yes, madam.
I can finally see your face now via Zoom.
Good.
Finally, I get to see your face. Okay, so yes, you were making a point. I think that all three of you are saying that there should be increment with regards to how much is being paid. And right now, the whole concentration is on the fixing of the problem. 2023, there's going to be an increment. Now, what are we going to tell the government with regards to this increment of the number of children that are being fed, not increment of the amount of money that's being paid?
Well, I believe at the moment, looking at the economic situation in the country now, I would advise that we do not consider increasing the numbers of the children, but we concentrate on what we have covered now and ensure that we give them quality food and then timely payment for the contractors, so that after we've gotten this, then we can see if we need to expand it to cover other children. But if, as my colleague has said, if the children that we are feeding now, they are not properly being fed, that is not right. So we need to ensure that they are fed well, the nutrition is, the level of nutrition is good for them. And then after that, we can look at other, if we need to increase the numbers. So we should always start from 1 before we go to 2. We start from A before we go to B. But as he said, if you look at what we are showing on the TV, this is not what you see when you go around now. As I told you, there are schools that you see that you can even count the beans on the plate of a child. You can count the beans. It's just water. So let's ensure that the correct food is the proper nutrition, and then efficiently done. Then we can go beyond that.
Right. Now, talking about the caterers as well, they are struggling. Lordship, they are struggling. I mean, I don't know how they are surviving on this one Ghana city thing. And for some, they are only in there because for them to even survive, they don't have any means of survival. So they are there. So they get something little out of it. But they are not feeding the children well. So what can we do to support these caterers? Should we bring in, private entities to come and take over if the government is struggling?
Well, but that is a policy decision. That's a policy decision. As I've said, we should ensure that we are paying them in good time. If we are not able to pay them in good time, and we need to even now to decrease the coverage, that would be an option for the government to do. But as I also said, we need to involve the stakeholders. We need to involve the contractors themselves, the local assemblies, and the parents, so that we can also all consider the way forward in this policy matter. Other than that, as my brother said, we pretend that we're feeding the children, but we'd rather be doing something else.
Right. Okay, Lordship, I'll come back to you. Let me go speak with Fosti Amevo. Fosti, I know I have kept you awake at 1 a.m. Can you hear me? Unmute yourself for me if you can hear me, Fosti. Okay, so yes, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. So I was asking the terms of payment. I know that it's not immediately that they pay you, but there was actually a structure of how the payment was supposed to come. What was the structure? What's supposed to be the structure?
The structure, actually, we were paid through the MTN money transfer system. So they made sure every caterer had an MTN money transfer number through which we were paid. And in nowadays, they even include the school teacher. There is a school teacher for every school who signs every day of a caterer providing food to the school. Those were some checks that were put in place. We had a lot of policies waiting to be initiated, but I don't know how far they've gone with that. Those policies can help us to have a better system of providing food for the children. All that they are saying is, it's not the fault of a caterer. I don't want the caterers to take that blame, because if you are actually paying somebody 1 cedi over, I think 4 or 5 years ago, they were giving them 80 pesos, and now it's 1 cedi. How do you expect the caterer to feed the children with quality food, healthy one, and good quantity of whatever they are supposed to get. I cannot understand. Are they to do magic? What are we expecting from them?
Talking about the means of payment that was via Momo and other means, what about the structure of how many months it had to take before you were paid? Was it 1 month? Was it 2 months or 3 months?
In a term, we are paid 2 times in a term.
Okay. Which is usually
you
3
always
months.
hear the teachers shout when the money doesn't come. But now, what I heard is that it's like a form of gagging. If you talk, they take the job from you. That is what they tell me. I don't know how true it is, but this is what they tell me. You can, I don't know if you have been in the station for long. Formally, we come out to talk about whatever payment that is coming. But now, my people cannot come out boldly and talk to the whole nation about how payment is going on.
Oh, really? Because I have had conversations, 2 different conversations with them. And are you saying that after those conversations, they were penalized?
Some of them.
Wow.
Some of them. So they are afraid to even come out to say that I've not been paid.
So was the contract taken away from them completely?
Because if you are being paid one CD for feeding a child and you know that money is not sufficient, why do you continue? So I give some of the blame to our caterers too. They have to unite. Now I think they don't even have any association in the schools, in the districts, for the school feeding caterers. They need a platform.
Right. It's quite sad to hear what you just said, meaning that you don't have a voice, because once you speak about it, then you lose your contracts. Very sad. Before you go, just tell us your general overview. What you think that can be done to salvage the situation in 2023? In your opinion?
Okay. In my opinion, there shouldn't be any increase in school feeding program to the schools. Those that we have, they should. I think we adored a school feeding policy. They should go back to them and restructure things, streamline things, audit, ensure quality of food is prepared for the school children, instead of going to increase the schools. And as we are talking about the teachers not being fed and all that, teachers cannot be fed anyway. They can only taste the food. That was the school feeding rules, that teacher can taste the food but not to be fed. Yes. So there are a lot of programs that we initiated. So they should go back to them, study them, and take those that are good to promote the well-being of our children. I think I cannot mention, there is no time, I cannot give you the policies that were put in place. They are in the secretariat. So if they go there, they can see them.
Right.
They should pay our caterers well, please.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
They don't go to the market to buy rotten tomatoes and all that.
I was just about to say that. Thank you very much for saying what you just said. We are grateful that you could join us this morning. Do have a fantastic day.
Same to you, my dear, and keep the faith.
Thank you.
And thanks to the other panelists on your show.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm so grateful.
We are grateful. Anytime you come to Ghana, please visit our premises.
Try and help our people.
We will. Okay, so let me go to Justice and have a few words with Justice as well. Justice Kofi Akrowa. I want to know some of the interventions that can be put in place to salvage this particular situation.
Madam, you see, this is a policy matter. So the intervention is that we could consider something like a stakeholders conference or meeting, so that we will people will bring their ideas, teachers will bring their ideas, parents will bring their ideas, the assembly will bring their ideas, and so that after all these things, we will decide what best option we can channel to ensure that this very important program is well executed. No, it is a very good program. By the implementation that we are considering, we are now assessing. But all along, you will see that the issue of irregular payment is an issue. Because once a small person living somewhere says, I want to help, he goes to contract a loan, and the payment becomes a problem. The bank will be chasing them. Sometimes they bring some of them to court. You see? And apart from that, if they can, if they are sourcing the materials from the local market, they have to pay all the time. You see, and that also sustain our local agri system. See, so the government must make it a priority. That's the priority program, and that in terms of releasing funds, it should be released regularly, on time.
Right.
And then the school caterers should also be monitored and ensure that if you are being paid, then at least you cook good food for the children. You give some power to the teachers to monitor the quality of food that they are providing for the children. I think some of these things will enhance the policy.
I mean, giving the power to the teachers is another thing, but you see, I'm just wondering, Justice, they give the power to the teachers, but the monies that's being paid to the caterers is not enough for them to give them the quality of food that even if the teachers should check, will be good enough.
But that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes.
That I think we have agreed, as I said initially, that we are pleading with the government not to consider expanding it now,
right,
until our finances get better. So you concentrate on what the coverage that we are doing now, and ensure that is properly done, properly executed. When we are happy with that, then we can look at extension. Because now we all know that our finances, the country finances is not good now, and everybody is suffering, everybody is complaining. So we can't add expenditure. You see? So let's ensure that if we are not going to reduce the coverage, we ensure that we maintain the coverage, but see to enhance the unit price that we're giving for the feeding of the children. That's the best way that the caterers can also enhance what we are doing. Otherwise, they will pretend that they are cooking for the children, but the food they give them is not nutritious.
It's quite appalling. It's very appalling. I mean, some of the videos we've seen on social media, some of them are really, really bad. For those that, we go there with our cameras and everything, it's something else. Let me go speak with my guy, Ayikwei. Ayikwei, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you think that we should let parents subsidize at a point?
The parents should subsidize.
That is such a thing. The fact is, some parents can feed their own wards. So at the end of the day, they should look at the places that are really deprived, where the parents are unable to feed their wards. And then at the end of the day, they will take it up from there and ensure that they feed such people. Government should not be thinking about increasing the number of children that are under the program. They should rather look at the specific children that really need to be fed, so that it will reduce hunger, so that malnutrition will also be curtailed, so that the enrollment, they will go to school rather than going around selling or doing menial jobs to feed themselves. So the program must be really looked at, so that we look at the specific people that will really need that program.
Where the problem is, you remember I was telling you that identifying them is a challenge, a little bit of a challenge. As much as you say that when you come to even, the tema, where we use as an example, there are some schools there that, you know, although we might think that the parents can feed their children, there are some children there who struggle to eat in their homes. Or you don't agree with me?
But the fact is, government can never feed all Ghanaian primary school children in the situation in which we find ourselves.
Right.
Even with the 97 pesos, they can't feed. And I'm telling you, government cannot. They cannot sustain it. They cannot sustain it. You know, we are joking. So if you cannot sustain it, you want to expand it because of political. I mean, no, government cannot sustain it. So let us be real. We can't sustain it. And at the end of the day, we have to look at ways and means whereby those who really need it, we give it to them.
You think
sustain?
You keep saying it's political gimmicks. You think it's there just to win some points to get the vote? I like how Justice is laughing.
The free senior high school. It is just like the free senior high school. Because of politics, you said I'm feeding a senior high school. I'm feeding everybody. Come to the boarding house. Everything is free. This is free. And look at the situation in which we find ourselves. And now we are also looking at school feeding program at the primary school level. 1 cedi where tax is deducted, and then we are supposed to pay 97 pesos. We are unable to pay for over 5 years now. And look at what the children are going through. So at the end of the day, we know that a country like Ghana cannot sustain this program. You know, when it started, it was being sponsored. Before, later we took over, and then we decided to do it ourselves. And
Canadian company.
Yes, and now look at where we find ourselves. We cannot sustain it. The reality is that we cannot sustain it. And I'm telling you, increasing this amount to even the 5 cedi that I've mentioned will be a problem.
It can't.
Yeah, looking at Ghana's as of now, it's going to be quite difficult for them to be able to do this.
It will be difficult. It will be very difficult for us to do it. So please, we need to sit down, look at the whole program, and then see where we need to target, and then handle it as such, so that in reality we know we are feeding those children and we are really attaining the goals and aims that we have set for the school feeding program.
What about bringing on board corporate bodies?
They're all in the policy. They're all in the policy. Yeah.
So we have to look at the policy again.
So white paper is there. They should go back to it.
They should go back to the policy. Is that what you said? The network is
we have to look at the policy. That is it. We have to go back to the policy, discuss it, redefine it, set new goals, know where we are going, know where we are. Because what we are doing is unsustainable. We are joking. We are just pretending.
And I don't know if I can come in. If I can
Yes, you can come in, Fosti. Come in. I didn't know you were still on.
Yeah, you know, talking about this free senior high school feeding, I think all Ghanaian children are safe. Who doesn't want the child to be in the boarding house, to be fed free of charge? So I was thinking, now that we cannot sustain even the primary school feeding program, why do we have to feed the boarders free of charge? If you put your child in a boarding school, you must be prepared to pay for the boarding. Are the day students and the boarders not the same Ghanaian children? Why are they giving some of them boarding and lodging, feeding, and the day students are not being fed 3 times a day? We have to go back as a country and look at some of the policies that we have created.
That's so the day students don't get the breakfast, supper, but the boarding students do get the breakfast, lunch, and supper. But the boarders, they take the lunch and supper in addition. Are they not all Ghanaian children? So the day students get only lunch. That's what you're saying. Only breakfast, I think. Only breakfast for the day students. Yes, and they go back home. Oh, and the boarders are using electricity, water, being fed. Okay, I see. Who wouldn't like the child to be fed?
So we should concentrate on the primary school feeding program, and let the parents pay for their boarding and lodging to relieve the country out of what we are going through.
Right. Let me ask you this. For the day students who take the breakfast, what kind of breakfast do they serve them?
That one, I can't talk much about it.
Okay. All right. Neither can you say about their lunch, if I'm right.
No.
Okay. But your point is very valid, because it's making sense. Why is somebody getting 3 square meals and somebody lacking just because the person is a day student?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where the politics comes in. So the boarders, parents must pay for feeding and lodging. That's electricity, water, if you want your child to be a boarder. So all these monies, the rest can be brought down to at least increase the school feeding program for the kids in the primary schools.
Right. For C, I think this is a very is an eye-opening thing you just said, because most people didn't know this. Until your ward is in school, you might not know that this is what is happening. And I think Awuley has also made that same point earlier, right?
Yeah.
You made the same point. You know,
yeah.
the boarding students and the day students.
Oh yeah, I've made that point. We've been making that point long time ago, and because they all pay taxes.
Right.
All parents pay taxes, and at the end of the day, some have the privilege of being in the boarding house to enjoy everything free, and I have to pay for my child to commute from the house to school, and then feed my child, and then you feed my child just once. And we are all taxpayers, so even it is not fair. So there's the need for us to realign some policies to help other policies to grow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll have to take your final words before you go. Awuley, kindly tell me what you feel should be done in a nutshell, and then I can move on to justice, and then I'll let Fosti also. I thought Fosti was
since government cannot sustain this program, and the reality is staring in our faces, there is a need for us to relook at this policy, and then know where we will channel whatever amount that we have to ensure that those particular children are being fed. Because even as we speak now, not all primary school children are being fed, as we speak now. Not all of them. Not all of them are being fed.
Is there a reason for that?
So the small one, or the few people that we can handle, and ensure that we start from that point, and then make sure we feed them very well, so that we can move one step at a point. At the end of the day, Rome was not built in a day. We'll definitely get there one day. But we should not stop this pretense, expansion, doing this, and at the end of the day, the little money that we have to put into this program, we cannot even sustain it. So let us relook at it, let us realign it, and let us realign some policies of education like the free SHS and all those, so that really, if we want to feed primary school children, we can then go on and feed them very well. I think this one will help. So thank you very much. Thank you to all your viewers.
Thank you so much, Ayikwei-Awulley. He is the communication director with the Coalition of Concerned Teachers Association in Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us. So we'll take Justice Kofi Akrowia's final words as well, and then we can let him have a good day. Justice?
Thank you very much, Madam. So as I've said, I have mentioned a number of times they need to have a regular consultation among the stakeholders so that they all agree on the way forward with the government. And that if we want to sustain the policy, then we should ensure that we give adequately budgeted support regularly all the time, so that we realize that a policy that foreigners supported, we've taken over, and that we're able to sustain it, and that other people will come and look at it to also go and try it in their various countries. But now, let's ensure that the policy that we are sustaining it, and that the children are being fed properly, and that consultation regularly will be done, so that we review and see the way forward, whether we need to get some people off But in terms of adding numbers, I don't think for now we can add numbers. We must get what we are doing, so remain where we are, and ensure that we do it well among them, and then we get efficiency. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Justice. We are very grateful. And I've been speaking with Justice Kofi Akrowia. He is the supervising High Court judge in the Ashanti region and also the board chairman for St. Mary's Vocational Institute. Now, let me go and speak with Faustina Amevo. Hello.
Hello.
Auntie Faustina, your final words before you go.
They should go back to the stakeholders, like my co-panelists have said, and revisit the policies that have been laid for the school feeding program. SNV did a lot in this school feeding program. So they should go back to the books and make sure caterers don't cheat government by paying caterers who don't feed the schools. We are losing through those points too. Proper checks should be put in place from the district assemblies, municipal assemblies to the secretariat.
All right, Fosti, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
And we shouldn't always blame the school feeding caterers.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. We are very grateful. I've been speaking with Faustina Amevo also. She is the former president of School Feeding Caterers Association.